This is a Fox News Alert. Primary elections held tonight in the state of Pennsylvania. Polling places just closed. A court there has radically reshaped the state's congressional boundaries. John Morganelli is a Democrat running for Congress in the newly reshaped 7th District in the state's Northeast. The district only narrowly supported Hillary Clinton in 2016. And despite his party affiliation, Morganelli is anti-abortion and has called for some restrictions on immigration in sanctuary cities. Mr. Morganelli joins us tonight. Mr. Morganelli, thanks a lot for coming on.
Tucker, thanks for having me tonight.
So, as I understand, there are three candidates, Democratic candidates, running in this primary tonight. Polls have closed, so we're not affecting anything with this interview. But the three candidates each come from a different part of the strain of the Democratic Party ideologically. Describe the kind of Democrat that you are.
Well, Tucker, I've come out of a blue-collar background. My father was a construction worker with a 6th grade education. My mother was a seamstress with 11th grade education. And I believe that I've come out of the traditional Democratic Party that's concerned about working men and women, that's concerned about blue-collar issues that affect these folks. And I always believed, the John F. Kennedy model and even to some degree the Bill Clinton model, who ran as a centrist. And that's pretty much where I've been. I'm not the strain of Democratic Party.
So I'm fascinated by the news coverage of your race. So you've said things that don't seem very controversial, like you're not in favor of giving driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. You're not against all immigration, but you're worried about illegal immigration. And you're not for giving state-subsidized tuition to illegal immigrants. For this, you are described as a hardliner on immigration. Do you think that's fair? Do you think the coverage of that subject is fair?
No, I don't think it's fair. First of all, I'm a grandson of an Italian immigrant, and I believe immigration is great. It's made our country great. But immigration is a process. It's those laws that we have, and people have to get in line and come into the country in a legal way. And to describe me as a hardliner, I think, is not accurate. I go to the naturalization service that we have in our county, where people from all over the world become naturalized citizens. It's a wonderful ceremony in the courthouse. And those are immigrants. What I'm opposed to is just people breaking into our country without permission, some of them being criminals, and I've seen them in my own county from the MS-13 gang and others. And then, our country giving incentives for more illegal immigration, such as driver's license, in-state tuition. I don't think those incentives should be given. It just creates more illegal immigration.
So Bill Clinton said that exact same thing 20 years ago. Now you're one of only a couple Democrats willing to say that out loud. What happened to the Democratic Party?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, as you know, there's a picture, a video of President Clinton giving, I think, a State of the Union speech where he talks hardline on immigration, says everything that I believe in, and even President Obama gave a similar speech. So this is not out of step with Democrats. I mean, in my own community here, I have great support for this position. People here, Democratic voters, I guess we'll know better tonight, want foreign criminals coming into the county and setting up shop. They don't want sanctuary cities. I've opposed sanctuary cities for a long, long time. Having a sanctuary city is like putting up a big sign that says, please, all foreign criminals come here because we won't do anything about it if you commit a crime. So, I don't think that all Democrats are in lockstep necessarily with some of the national philosophy that comes out of Washington on this issue.
Man, I hope you're right. And the polls have closed, so I can say it. I'm certainly rooting for you tonight. John Morganelli, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks, Tucker.
Probably won't help. Well, with some candidates on the Democratic side flipping the bird to the NRA while others back Trump-style immigration, it's not quite clear what the Democratic message is for 2018. Brit Hume is Fox's senior political analyst. He watches carefully. He joins us tonight. Brit, what do you think the message is? Or is there a national message that the Democratic Party is selling this midterm?
I think it's pretty indistinct at this moment, if there is one, Tucker. And I think that much of the party is so mesmerized by Donald Trump and loathes him so deeply that that has become kind of the central thing and the central theme that you can see that that's what the Democratic Party appears to be mostly about right now. I suspect as time goes on, something more oriented toward voters will come along. But remember, Tucker, these candidates are running in a party where 71%, according to one recent poll, want Donald Trump impeached. So it's kind of understandable that there'd be some focus on him.
Yeah, for sure. And most Democrats are, of course, very anti-Trump. That's why they're Democrats. But is that a message that moves people to the polls?
Well, based on the evidence we have, it seems not to be working very well. And the reason I say that is that look at the advantages that Democrats enjoy going into this midterm election. First of all, the political gravity in any president's first midterm is always with the other party, and the average loss is more than would be enough if they made their average gain. The Democrats would get control of the House. They had a huge gap in what's called the generic ballot. You know, Tucker, that's the one where you ask people if they'd rather vote for a Democrat or Republican unnamed in the upcoming election. Normally, Democrats do well on that ballot. They were up, what, plus 15 or 16 at one point not very long ago, and now that number is down to single digits, and some polls down to low single digits, which suggests that whatever they're selling, people are not buying with the enthusiasm that the party had hoped for.
What'll happen if they don't retake the House?
Well, you know, I think there'll be an agonizing reappraisal because it's been, you know, we've been hearing about this blue wave that was thought to be inevitable and may yet come. If it doesn't come, obviously there's going to be a search for scapegoats, and we'll see what happens. But this party, I think, Tucker, what we're seeing emerge now is that for all the divisions in the Republican Party between Trump supporters and the never-Trumpers and so on, and all the divisions within the conservative movement over that, the divisions in the Democratic Party are at least as deep, if not deeper. And the heart of the Democratic Party, I remember you saying in a speech not too many years ago, was not with Hillary Clinton, but she won anyway. A candidate of her stripe, I don't think, could win this time. I don't know that a white male candidate could win. So here we are, and the Democrats really have some serious divisions to worry about, and whether whatever they come up with will be appealing to a broad cross-section of voters is obviously what remains to be seen.
Yeah, a white male candidate could not win. I don't think a lot of the white male candidates running for the Democratic nomination know that yet, but I think they're going to learn. Do you think that it moves in the direction of populist economics, becomes the Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders party?
Well, I think that's the drift, and I think that excites a lot of people. And of course, if you look at the attitudes of young voters now, who do not seem to have grasped the benefits of a market capitalist economy, and don't seem to be put off at all by the idea of socialism, despite socialism's abysmal history, which is playing out even today in certain parts of the world, Venezuela being the most conspicuous example. But I think that the party it's gotten pretty far left now, and a lot of old ideas that are being passed off as kind of new ideas are in the air. And the party will have to reckon with that, because if they come up with somebody who's an out-and-out socialist for president, I don't think they could possibly win, and I don't think and I'm not sure how many of them we'll see, but there'll be awful battles over this.
Their corporate donors, because the party is entirely supported by corporate America, are going to be pretty surprised when it turns out they're sending money to Hugo Chavez.
Yeah, well, don't estimate.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet, Tucker.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, don't underestimate the ability of a leftist candidate to raise money from small donations and make a serious run for it. Bernie Sanders certainly did.
That's right. No, that's right. I just think the Goldman Sachs guys are going to be pretty shocked when they see what's coming. Anyway, great to see you.
Yeah, thank you, Tucker.